Dolphins were dominated by the Titans last night, 31-12. Tyreek Hill was held in check with 23 yards on 4 catches as the Dolphins managed just 78 yards passing. Miami has not led a game at all this season and scored 15 points total since Tua was injured versus the Bills. Here's our Adam Schefter with more on Tua's future.
The fact of the matter is he has been symptom-free, and he has been meeting with neurologists. And I don't believe that anybody's told him anything right now to dissuade him from want to playing. And I think there's a feeling here that he is bound to come back. And for all the talk there was about Tua Tagovailoa and how he should stop playing and how he should retire, the fact of the matter is there's a real possibility that when his 4 games are up on injured reserve, that he's going to be back in the Miami Dolphins lineup.
Not surprising. Late nights, early mornings there for Marcus Beard. It's been tough sledding for Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins offense since Tua went down. Hill has 3 straight games with less than 50 receiving yards, and the team went 10 straight quarters without scoring a touchdown before the 4th quarter last night. All right, we have Shannon Sharpe. There he is. Hey, Shay, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, guys.
All right, so I want to start with you.
I see the smile. I need more enthusiasm than that, Shannon. What's up? You ready? Because you're getting on my damn nerves with you and LeBron.
Like,
I'll deal with you later on in the show. You ready? You ready? All right. All right. Let's go. Let's go. That's right. Let's go. Let's get up. Let's
LeBron? Why LeBron getting on this
The
nerve?
more he keeps
You'll find out later.
The more he keeps telling me, let's
need to
go,
relax.
it makes me want to stall.
No.
Like, I'm being honest with you. Now he's annoying me.
Golly.
Jeez. S.A., was it a mistake for Tyreek to leave Mahomes?
I'm sorry. I had to pause there. Molly had the audacity to say somebody's annoying her. That's news flash. But I'll move on. Let me say this about Tyreek Hill, please, okay? You damn right it was a mistake for him to leave Patrick Mahomes. I want to say this. If we want to talk money, there's nothing to talk about. $120 million contract, $72 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid receiver at the time. I'm saying business is business. I'm talking football, y'all, which y'all know a hell of a lot better than me as former players, okay? Here's the reality. When you take into account the kind of rhetoric that was coming out of Tyreek Hill's mouth, June of 2022, obviously, I'm going to go with 15 as the strongest arm, but as far as accuracy-wise, I'll go with Tua all day long. November 2023, they're neck and neck. Those guys are neck and neck. Tua is obviously my boy Tua. I mean, you look at him right now. He's slowly changing people's minds as we speak. At this rate, going up to this year, I would say Tua is the better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. These are the words that came out of Tyreek Hill's mouth. Now, this is a man that was a star wide receiver, the cheater, absolutely electric. You're Patrick Mahomes. You could throw it deep or you could dip and dunk it. With him, it didn't matter. When you put the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands, big things happen. I understand that Kansas City has won 2 Super Bowls since Tyreek Hill has been gone. But if you're Tyreek Hill right now, tell me definitively, strictly on football levels, guys, can you look at a guy like Tyreek Hill and tell me who made a bigger mistake in terms of leaving their old team? You look at Tua right now, his career's in jeopardy. They can talk about how he's okay and he's passing every test and he's going to be all right and he ultimately is going to be back. One hit at this point can end everything for him. We had conversations ad nauseum throughout various shows over the last several weeks as to whether or not this man should retire right now. That is what they're saying about Tua Tagovailoa. You're Tyreek Hill. You walked away from Patrick Mahomes. You walked away from Andy Reid. And now the Miami Dolphins look like hot garbage because they don't have their quarterback, Tua, who you cannot rely upon because his durability due to the concussions is simply not something that you can rely on. It's that simple. I think this could end up going down as one of the greatest mistakes an NFL football player has ever made in terms of their on-field decisions, departing from Kansas City to go to Miami. Because obviously without Tua, where the hell are we going to see from Tyreek Hill? He ain't got anybody to throw him the damn football.
Stephen A., I'm glad you prefaced this by saying that it's a football discussion that we're having.
Yes.
And you absolutely right. He made a big mistake to leave Patrick Mahomes. The point that you made about they've won 2 Super Bowls since he left. Tyreek Hill was still going to make money. He was still going to get paid, and obviously you got to make a business decision as an individual, especially if we talking millions and millions of dollars different. But from football, he's had to sit there while in Miami, getting his stats and getting his money, and watch the Kansas City Chiefs continue on. Shay and Stephen A., you gonna relate to this. It's like when you're in a relationship and you and the girl break up, all of a sudden she become ugly and she ain't worth nothing. But you spent 5 years telling her how great she was and talking about you just in the best relationship you ever been in. That's how I felt when Tyreek Hill was talking about Tua Tagovailoa and comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. It was asinine and didn't make any sense at all. We were literally watching the best career within the first 5 years of an NFL quarterback in the history of the league. And he had the nerve to say that about Tua. Give Tua his credit. That's your quarterback. He is super accurate. He's played well. He's played well enough to get a contract. He's played well enough for you to be in the MVP conversation. So from an individual standpoint, Tyreek Hill, you hit the jackpot from money to your production. And now you're starting to see, franchise-wise, football-wise, why this probably was a disastrous decision that you made.
I can't say either one of you are wrong when you're right, because we're just talking a football decision. Monetarily, he made the best decision. It was an easy decision for him to make because, guys, he had already had a Super Bowl ring. I don't know if the decision would have been as easy had he not had that ring, but he had already won a championship. And he says, now, let me go secure my family for the foreseeable future and for at least a generation. And that's what he's able to do. But, Swag, you're absolutely right. You look at, had Tyreek been on this roster with the numbers, let's just say he doesn't put up 1,900 yards, he puts up 1,500 yards in those back-to-back seasons. So that's 3,000 yards. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, he has double-digit touchdowns both years. 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns. Now he's a 3-time Super Bowl winning wide receiver. Now we start to have a serious discussion about where Tyreek ranks as a top 10, top 5 receiver, maybe even top 5 when it's all said and done. Now, I don't think he's going to catch, I don't think anybody that's currently playing right now is going to catch Jerry Rice. That remains to be seen. But, guys, you're absolutely right. That's what named a player, wide receiver, that has left Tom Brady, went to a quarterback and said, oh, yeah, this situation I'm in now is better than what I left. Name a player that left Peyton Manning and said the situation I'm in now is better than what I left. That's what, and Patrick Mahomes is in that same breath with those guys. And you're actually saying with a straight face, I get it. The new relationship is always the best relationship. Swag, you hit the nail right on the head. Everybody has been there. It's the newness of it. But at the end of the day, when you strip it down for what it's worth, there's still going to be problems, and you left the greatest situation that you could possibly be in because Tom Brady isn't coming back, Joe Montana isn't coming back, Peyton Manning is coming back, and you got that guy. You had that guy young in his prime,
That's the
and
point.
you left it. I got no problem with him leaving because he's made a ton of money. Remember, he got Stephen A. You mentioned, what was it, 4 years, 120 million?
4 years,
and he just got another deal, another 3 years for 90.
Right. Right.
You can't argue monetarily, but from a football, pure football, it's not even close.
Well, it's not even close. It's an awful decision from a pure football decision. I understand business obviously infiltrates the proceedings, but here's where I would throw out this caveat to both you and Swagoo. Let's get into the money just quickly and not too in-depth. Before he was negotiating with the Chiefs for free agency and he ultimately moved on to Miami. Remember in 2019, he had won a Super Bowl ring with the Chiefs in 2019. Right at that time, he was among the highest paid receivers in the league after signing a 3-year, $54 million extension that year. So in other words, when you come to a couple of years later, when he thought it was time for him to get his bag and what have you, even more so, the Chiefs thought they came with a good offer, but he was pushing and pushing and pushing the envelope. Now, we have to understand that the Chiefs never divulged specifically what the number was. But when he got $120 million, $72 million guaranteed, considering the climate that we were living in, et cetera, what if they came to him with 67, 68, as opposed to 72 million guaranteed? I understand if they offering you 50 and you getting 72 from Miami, But what if it was the difference between 4 and 5 million, but you got an opportunity to win rings, plus your marketability would have skyrocketed because in 6 years in Kansas City, you were a 6-time Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl champion. And then we're talking about the possibility of you being with Patrick Mahomes. We see Travis Kelce, and forget Taylor Swift for a second. We see Travis Kelce doing his own thing even before Taylor Swift. Now, obviously, it has elevated exponentially, and we understand that. But the point is, he was doing his own thing prior to that. And even now, when we see Patrick Mahomes commercials, we still see Travis Kelce in them. Who's to say that wouldn't have been Tyreek Hill? Who would have said that? Who's to say that wouldn't have been the cheetah? There was marketability opportunities there as well, as long as you win. Now he got his money from Miami, but that's all he's got. Because nobody cares because they know Miami's not going anywhere because Tua's health is such a question mark.
There's a lifestyle aspect as well, going from Kansas City to Miami. So if you want to get paid and live in an amazing city with good weather.
But you got to look at this through a prism. We always talk about the NFL, and all of us know this on this desk. You got to maximize those years. We always talk earning potential, which is absolutely the correct thing when we talk about Tyreek going to Miami and getting money. But there's also another element to this. Like after that, could you imagine globally right now what Tyreek Hill would be as a 3-time Super Bowl champion, and the way he's trended in his career?
I agree with you guys, I agree with the football decision, absolutely. And even I would choose football over 100%. I'm just saying that that plays a role as well. That you're in Miami.
100%.
For taxes, everything.
Go ahead, Shay.
Yeah, all those things that you say are absolutely true. But the thing is, he'll get an opportunity to enjoy Miami in January and February because the Dolphins ain't playing in those Super Bowls like they're going to be in Kansas City. Because at the end of the day, and like you said, look at Andy Reid. Andy Reid is State Farm commercials. Andy Reid ain't never acted a day in his life, and that's what Patrick Mahomes was able to do for him. Look at Travis Kelce. Now, Trav is a different animal, but how many times can you turn the TV on Sunday and see a commercial and Travis Kelce isn't in it? So sometimes you got to think out, it's not just the money that you get from the NFL, it's the supplemental income.
Of course.
That you don't have to use your NFL money. Travis Kelce ain't touching his NFL money because it's everywhere else. And that's what you have to look at, Tyreek. And I think Tyreek just thought about it like, look, I want these M's, I want 30 M's a year, blah, 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 and so forth and so on. But from a strictly, and we're talking to Stephen A. and Swags, and we all prefaced it, when you talk football, it's not even close.
Absolutely.
Disastrous move.